Welcome to you once again in the Department of English, RBNB College, Srirampur. You are going to watch a video which is prescribed for FYBA Compulsory English Semester 1. And the title of this story is The Gift of Magi, written by a very famous American short story writer who has written more than 600 stories which are very popular throughout the world. And you are going to study one of it. Okay, I have divided this video into two parts, and in this video we are going to study the first part of Gift of Magi. In the last video, in the second video, I would define the meaning of Magi. Only you remember here, that is, what is this gift? So we have to study this lesson or story as per this plan. This is the plan of part 1. In part 1, you are going to study about life and work of O. Henry. Then, what are the features of O. Henry's short stories? The third point is, what is the subject of the present story, that is Gift of Magi? The next one, you are going to study about the couple, the happy couple, that is Jim and Della. Next one is, that is the struggle to save. It means Della's struggle to save money. Why she wants to save money? Let us have to study in this story. Then her sobs and sniffles. The next one is, that is Della pacifies herself. Why she pacifies? What is her problem? Let us have to study in this video. And the last one is, what are the biblical references? Just like the gift of Magi, Magi has a biblical reference. About Magi, we'll study in the second part. But here we have the two biblical references in this part of video. We'll study it. As far as this writer O. Henry is concerned, as already I said, that he is American famous or creative short story writer, and more than 600 stories he has written about throughout his career. O. Henry is his pen name, or we can say pseudonym. The full name of O. Henry is William Sidney Porter. He was born on September 11, 1862, and he was passed on June 5, 1910. The period indicates that he is a modern short story writer. Okay. So as far as his family is concerned, his father was physician, and he lost his mother when he was only 3 years old. So this is about his, we can say, his life in short. So I hope that you'll study in detail on internet or different reference books or encyclopedia. Okay. Now, my second point is, what are the features of short stories of O. Henry? So, first of all, when you read this story, or when you read the other stories of O. Henry, you will notice these things, that there is a fusion of comedy with pathos, and he is well known for his twist ending. What is this twist ending? That is a surprising ending. So, number of his stories has a twist at the end. our expectation of end is different, and the end of the story takes turn, we can say. So it is known as the twist, the word twist. So when particular things say we word it, again it stops and again it take back. So the word comes from it. It is known as the twist ending. Then when we study his stories, we'll find what is the base of his stories. And that is the human psychology is the base of all of his stories. His stories are famous for wit, humor, and realism. He is known as the magician of word, and he is famous for wordplay even also. He is also famous for his art of characterization. Means whatever the character he painted in his work, in his stories, number of them are very popular in the English reader. As far as his work is concerned, I would like to give you some examples that which books are so popular of O. Henry. Number one is Cabbages and Kings, which was published in 1904. The second one is The 4 Million, which was published in 1906. The third one is The Tamed Lamb, which was published in 1907. The fourth one is Heart of West, which was published in 1907. The Gentle Grafter, which was published in 1908. The Voice of City, which was again published in the same year, that is 1908. Roads of Destiny, which was published in 1909. Options, which was again published in the same year, that is 1909. The Two Men was published in 1910. Strictly Business, which was published again in 1910. Then Worldlings, which is also a popular one, published in the same year, that is 1910. Sixes and Sevens, again it is a popular work of O. Henry, published in 1911. The Rolling Stones, published in 1912, and Webs and Stage, which is also the famous one, published in 1970. So this is about life and work of O. Henry. Now we come to, we already studied the features of O. Henry, that is twist ending or characterization, magician of words or wordplay, etc., wit and humor, pathos, etc. So these are his features. Now the third point is, what is the subject of this story? The Gift of Magi, which was published in 1905. So this is a heart-touching story, or we say sensational story, which has also the twist ending. This is the story of a young couple named Mr. James and Della. Okay, this is a young couple, happy couple even also. So both are very devoted to each other, or we can say this is a loving couple. And here both they are not rich people. They belongs to very common family, we can say. So naturally they have limited source of income, or they have little money. And according to Christian, we can say tradition, the husband and wife and even other members, they like to give present or gift on Christmas, or it is known as Christmas present. So this is the tradition of Christian community or Christian religion. Here, Jim wants to give present to Della, and Della wants to give present to Jim. But unfortunately, being in a poor family, being limited source of income, they don't have sufficient money to buy the gift they want to give each other. So this is the story of it. Here, when we read the story, we find that Della would like to give golden, she sells her golden hair for $20 to a nearby hairdresser named as Madam Safrin, and she buys a platinum pocket watch chain for Jim's watch, and the worth of that chain is $21. That means she sells her golden hair to the hairdresser, and with that money she buys a Christmas gift for her loving husband, which costs $21, and it is the chain, we can say, chain for his valuable watch. At the same time, when we finish the story, we find that Jim also sells his watch to buy a set of ornamental combs for Della. But you see, Della lost her hair, and so the comb which is used to comb the hair, this set, though it is valuable, it is useless for her, because she sells her golden hair, and she buys a chain, she buys a chain, and Jim sells the valuable watch. Again, both the presents are meaningless. So this is the subject of the story. Now, the next point is about this happy couple, and how there is the reflection of poverty is described by O. Henry. So this story opens at Christmas evening or Christmas Eve. When you start to read the story, there is we can say, dialogue of Della that she would like to give present to her loving husband, and it is a Christmas evening. That means next day is a Christmas, and the one day before, at the time of evening, the story takes place. Now Della, she is a beautiful girl having golden hair, and she is a housewife. While her husband, the name of her husband is James Dillingham Young, but Della affectionately calls him Jim. Okay, so we can say this is the story of a happy couple. Though they are poor, they are matured. Though they are poor, they are happy because they love each other by heart, and this is the reason of it. They understand each other, or they love by heart, and they are living. In the introductory paragraph, we are told that this couple lives in a flat which is beyond description. It means the flat is beyond description. This beyond description reflects or describes or depicts the locality and the feature, the structure of that flat. It is beyond description, means they are living with a, we can say, damaged, or we can say not a good flat. It's not a too good flat. Okay, somehow they managed to live in it. The surrounding or the locality or the belongings also described by O. Henry, which gives or which reflects the poverty of this couple. Okay, so whatever the things, belongings O. Henry described in this novel, that he says at the gate, at the front gate, there is an empty letter box. So what this empty letter box indicates? That means the letter never comes to them. There is no letter in the letter box. This means the letter box is empty. It is useless because nobody sent them letter, because it is a poor family, or it is we can say a poor couple. And so only the identity, the social identity depends on your pocket, or they can depend on how much money you belong. So purposely O. Henry says nobody sends them letter. In addition to it, there is a electric bell near the door. There is an electric bell, but that electric bell is also described by O. Henry very humorously, but there is pathos in his humor. While describing the doorbell, he says, no mortal finger can make sound of it. It means that electric bell is also useless. Outside the door, there is a name card. What is this name card? We call it name plate. Okay, so that you can understand the meaning. This is American word, name card, instead of saying name plate. So the letters on this name plate or name card are we can say blurred. Okay, they are very blurred, and they have no sufficient money. So that is why, just like their income is shrunken, the names are also shrunken. Some of the letters on the name plate are disappeared, and they are paying $8 per week for this flat. Now their income is shrunken, and so it is very difficult for them to make both ends meet. It means it makes very difficult for them to manage or to run the house. And that is why O. Henry says the word Dillingham on the notice board, on the name plate, are blurred because their income is shrink. So such a humorously, such a way O. Henry describes the family or the couple. The next point is the struggle for saving, sobs and sniffles. As already I told you that Della wants to give sterling. What is this sterling? That is the genuine or worthy and rare Christmas gift to her loving husband, and she plans it for number of days. But when the Christmas is near, she counts her saving one day before because she would like to purchase or buy a gift for her husband. So she only saves 1 and 2 pennies at a time, because it again shows that due to the limited sources of income, due to their poverty, she cannot save sufficient money to give gift to her husband. And to save the money, she has to struggle for every penny. See, there is a great struggle to save every penny for work. And so in short we can say, for her, every penny is just like a wheel of cart. How she saves money? Because she never goes for work or she never goes outside the door to earn money. So what are her sources? How she saves money? And just like a housewife saves her money, in the same way she saves money. And what are the sources of it? That she bargains with the grocer, the vegetable man, the butcher. She bargains whenever she buys the vegetable. She bargains with the grocer. What is bargaining? To make the price less. Suppose the object is of 10 rupees. She says, now give it at 8 rupees. It is known, and then the grocer says, no, just give 9 rupees. Okay. So this is the mean. It is known as the bargaining. So she saves money through bargaining, we can say. And in this bargaining, due to her bargaining, she has to digest the silent and cynical remarks of the people, movements of the people, as well as glances of these people. And because they call her parsimony. What is parsimony? Parsimony means miser, M-I-S-E-R. In Marathi we called it kanjus. Okay, so she is called miser or parsimonies. She feels ashamed of it. But what can she do it? She is firm on her decision. She wants to purchase a Christmas gift for her loving husband. She counts and recounts her saving for 3 times. Why she counts for 3 times? Because her saving is beyond her expectation. And her saving is very, very less. Only she could save $1.87 only. So this is, we can say, a poor saving. And this savings makes her nervous, unhappy and uneasy. So what can she do? She becomes very nervous. She blames her fate. Hey God, I would like to give the present to my husband, but I could not save sufficient money for it. So she was nervous, she was unhappy, and so she flops down on the decayed sofa because she wants to give outlet to her grief. She wants to give outlet to her sorrows, and she started wailing on her fate. She starts crying, she starts weeping because she is helpless. She could not understand what to do in this dilemma. So she thinks, she sobs and she sniffles. She says, that these are inevitable parts of my life. And so she was weeping on the sofa. Then the next point is that Della pacifies herself. After passing some time, she starts to think this weeping, crying is not the answer of this question. So she starts to think, an idea strikes in her mind, and so she gets up from the sofa. She goes near the window and she peeps through the window. Started to thinking, because she realizes that this weeping is not the solution of her problem. So she consoles herself not to weep, and that is why she stops her sobbing, get up and stops at the window and looks through the window. And one thing she noticed, the word O. Henry repeats it for 3 times. She saw a grey hat near grey fence and grey backyard. So the same color is reflected, which is a ray of hope for Della. Then we are told that she is very proud of the precious, valuable and important belongings to her. And she has the 2 things with her. And what are they? Number 1 is her golden hair. And number 2 is the watch of Jim, which was the patrimony. What is patrimony? Ancestral. We can say the watch gets from his grandfather to his father and from father to him, like this. It is an ancestral one, which is patrimony one. So these are the 2 valuable things for her, and she started to think on it. And then O. Henry describes the value of, we can say, these 2 belongings. And how O. Henry describes that? He says, these 2 belongings, they outshine Queen Sheba's glory and King Solomon's treasury. Here there are 2 biblical references, which is my last point of first video on gift of Magi. Now, who are these people? Who is Queen Sheba? Who is King Solomon? Again, there is a biblical references that Sheba is a very rich queen, we say, very rich queen. And once she travels to Jerusalem because she wants to check, she wants to test King Solomon's wisdom, because somebody told her that King Solomon is a very wise person, a very clever person, and she wants to check it by herself. So she brings with her the valuable things and marched with her soldiers. She marched at Jerusalem. Then she enters in the kingdom of Solomon and she tells her intention to him. And in the kingdom she was welcomed, and she asked, we can say, certain questions or hard questions to Solomon, and Solomon answers all her questions very wisely, very cleverly, and that is why Queen Sheba becomes very happy to listen the answers. She is satisfied with the answers. She is pleased with the answers, and so she offers her precious things to King Solomon. But King Solomon is also a generous king. He also returns some of the valuables belongings to him. He offers some belongings, some valuable, we can say valuable to Queen Sheba. So this is the biblical reference. In short, we can say they exchange the gifts. And I think here is the hint of the ending of the story, the twist of the story. And that is why O. Henry says or describes that the property or the belongings, the two important or valuable belongings of this couple outshines Queen Sheba's glory and King Solomon's treasury, where the treasury means where the wealth is put. In short, we can say they are, or this couple is more, we can say, wealthy than Queen Sheba and King Solomon. So this is the end of part 1. In the part 2, we will study the remaining part of the story. I hope you like this video. I thank you to spare time with me.